and welcome to another episode of Logistics Explained. My name is Rachel Vasey, and today we are going to discuss an industry that most of us, if not all of us, have come into contact with and consumed on a daily basis. The car tire industry in Australia has grown at a modest pace over the last 5 years. In this episode, we are going to look into what a typical supply chain looks like, what information this industry needs to function, and also analyse some challenges that present themselves in the business environment. As this infographic shows, the car industry supply chain starts with the production of raw materials. Materials like natural rubber, steel, chemicals, and textiles are all sourced, traded, and processed through dealers before the rubber is then bought by tyre manufacturers. Once the rubber has been bought, it is then transported to the country it has been bought for. So in our case, this is Australia. Once it arrives at the manufacturing plant, it goes through various production processes before sustaining final quality testing. Once quality control has been completed, the tyres are then transported to various automobile retailers and end consumers. A supply chain is defined by the coordination amongst business functions such as finance, marketing, and production, and together they create the end value for the consumer. When considering reverse logistics, the management of tyre waste is an important aspect of the sustainable development of this industry due to its environmental, economic, and social impacts. The Australian government predicts that around 51 million passenger tyres reach the end of their product life cycle each year. 5% of these tyres, so around 8 million per annum, are recovered and managed appropriately here in Australia. This system is incredibly important as we work towards a sustainable future. We are now going to talk about what type of information this particular topic needs to know. The domestic demand for tyres in Australia has been relatively strong since 2010, but with mining investment subsiding and business confidence plummeting, the industry is now forced to reorientate itself. Peter Heatley, Product Marketing Manager at Michelin Australia, is expecting retreadability and sustainability to become increasingly important until the end of this decade. It's not just about selling the product anymore. It's about cooperating with transport businesses to provide added value beyond the initial sale, he said. The automobile industry is globalizing at a rapid rate, and the establishment of an efficient supply chain that can minimize inventory through product lifecycle controls from raw materials to final products is paramount. It is important that tyre manufacturers like Michelin Australia continually adjust their output to take into account the constant erosion of market share caused by the pressure from imported tyres. This segments us to talk about some of the challenges that this industry faces. As mentioned previously, the international tyre industry is incredibly competitive, particularly in the lower price, high volume ranges. Production needs to be adequate to meet the demands of the local market, as well as considering costs of production and inventory levels. As well as this, it is important that tyre manufacturing companies are investing in new technologies in production and logistics. This continual investment allows the industry to constantly evolve and keep up with new trends. It is said that while flexibility is considered a virtue in the supply chain to quickly respond to market demands, systematic quality control of products has improved with the use of integrated sensing techniques such as RFID, which aids in the challenge of the product life cycle from production to distribution and then to usage to the end consumer. A recent study shows that it is inevitable that Australian tyre manufacturers will continue to be constrained by the small size of the domestic market and by direct and indirect trade barriers which limit larger export activity. It has also been made known that in a recent article that the federal government needs to take action and to assist the tyre manufacturing industry by restricting the importation of used passenger tyres as the effects of this in the long run could result in significant job loss for Australians. The tyre industry is continually challenged by global economic conditions, fluctuations in the automotive industry, as well as aggressive competitions in the industry.
Product differentiation and effective management of the supply chain are key factors that will aid in minimizing challenges and improve the competitiveness within the industry. In the future, tyre manufacturers will need to be systematic, agile, and incredibly accurate in their logistics so that the supply chain can be adequately supported so that the industry can continue to grow and to meet the ever-evolving needs of their end consumers. I hope this episode has been insightful and interesting. Thank you for joining me.